Welcome, Bi-Conics Wrestling fans, to a spooky edition of the Bi-Conics Review of Honor, the Bro. I am JVL. This is Jesse Wyatt. We've got Andrew, and we've got Mikey back. El Jefe is with us in the house.
Yes,
and we're here to go
be
over
some changes. No, I'm just kidding.
Literally,
What's
we
up,
just
y'all?
changed again.
I missed y'all.
But we missed you very much, and we needed you here because this was a quick but very interesting version of Ring of Honor. Before we get into starting to this right now, though, hands in, Code of Honor needs to be put in. Mikey, shake my hand.
Oh, he's saying no? Oh, okay.
Oh, such a heel. Such a heel.
I should have been like slap it out of the hand like a certain somebody this episode.
Exactly. But before we get started on there, we are jumping into the Ring of Honor review here. I want to remind our Bi-Conics Wrestling folks that we are available on the social media and on YouTube at BC WrestlePod. Find us there. Comment on things. Tell us how much you love Jesse's contacts or just the, Acri Apex and Acri everything else. I forgot the name of your segment already. It's terrible.
Acri Alcove.
That would be it. It's such alliterative. Just tell us you like us. Tell us you want us to be there and make this one of our biggest viewed videos again because we really appreciate you. All right, done with the housekeeping here. Gentlemen, the quick AEW ROH stuff here. We had a very easy watch through for the most part. Some of us didn't think it was great, thought it was okay. I thought it was a very fun show, very action-packed. Jesse, you thought it was a little more up and down.
I thought it was a bit of a mixed bag. There were some good matches, some things that I would have changed and improved upon, but I rather enjoyed it. Again, there were certainly some things that could have been booked better or performed better, in my not so humble opinion. But that's me. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a fast card. I thought we zoomed through it, and in some cases, I was happy with that. But I think there were things that could have had a little bit more focus or direction going with them, and just a few more things, kind of long-term plans. But overall, it was, it was fun. It was fast.
It was a fast card.
Oh my goodness.
Hefe?
No, I agree. This was I mean, this was a fun card. My only concern is we are 8 weeks out from Final Battle now that we got that official date. So I know I'm asking a lot, but here's hoping that some of these storylines start to make a little more sense down the line. But, we'll see.
Yeah. It depends on who they're going to book on the ROH program or whether all the titles are going to be on AEW programming going forward like they have been. But as we talked about before, we are on a video podcast right now, video review, and we went to a video package first in ROH, which has been happening not that much. And we start off with Angelico setting up the premise of why he's taking on Eddie Kingston, why he's called him out. It's nothing personal, except that you hurt my friend, and you shouldn't do that. We're buddies. We shouldn't do that. Guys, did this make you understand Angelico's intentions more? Did you feel like he was going to be used in the right way now, or was this kind of just fluff?
I thought the promo stuff was okay. It did a good job setting up the reasoning and the logic behind it, which is something I feel like we need more of in a lot of the ROH programming. Is I need stories with substance and not just stories because they exist. But I had a real challenging time trying to accept Angelico as he's trying to come off as angry and rage fueled. It didn't work for me. For somebody who's so laid back and, as one of the announcers said tonight, smooth as peanut butter, it didn't work for me. It wasn't convincing for me.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I like that we're getting to see more of this team. They are an entertaining pair. They're also, on top of just being, kind of silly and fun, they're really good in-ring performers. It's cool to see Angelico get this kind of opportunity, and that they're not just saying like, okay, you two are going to fight at some point, and then we just either see it right away or we just don't really hear anything and then we see it. So it was nice to see them get a promo like this and try to build some depth into this story. Because I don't know that I would doubt that Angelico's coming out of this with the title, but I'd like to at least see it be a well-built and fun match.
I'd like to pin a point that you had just made there about they're going to fight at some point, and maybe it'll be today, is a lot of the RH booking, but they're actually building up, because we had one of those matches later tonight, but we'll get there.
Oh, we will. We will. Mikey, video package for you. Was this an Angelico plus, minus? What do you think?
I didn't mind that Angelico kept the energy level down, because when you're anybody who is put up against Eddie Kingston, you're automatically going to lose in the intensity because there's no off switch for Eddie Kingston. It is always at 110% or I'm about to murder you percent. Like there's no in between and there's nothing below that. What I do hope to see though, and I don't know if Angelico would tap to it, but he kind of got, if he can pull out his aggression that he showed while he was on the Lucha Underground circuit for a little bit, because then I think this laid back character, okay, now you've actually made me mad, so we're about to fight. So regardless, I think this was fine. I just hope we continue to see some progression with this.
Which we then saw some progression in the match that we had where he was taking on Metalik in the opener here. No jobber entrance for Metalik. They seemed to be on even ground, which is great to see. But I don't know about you guys. I felt going into this, we knew Metalik was being fed to Angelico to kind of boost him up as this Eddie Kingston killer. Did you feel like this was a good use of Metalik? Did you feel like this could have been better? Or how was the match for you in general?
I wouldn't agree with the Fed. I definitely think there were other people on the roster who could have been used, but I liked seeing this. They've got good chemistry. They work well together. They put on a very entertaining match. I liked seeing all the clever submissions that Angelico was able to come up with. I'd like to see him in more submission-based matches. I know there's the pure rules, which I still don't have a firm grasp on all the rules for that I think he could do well in. But I enjoyed the match. Metalik showed why he's the king of the ropes. But still, Angelico with those creative counters and submissions was able to take it over.
Yeah, it was. When I saw that they were gonna face each other, it was pretty obvious that Metalik was gonna lose. But I was surprised at how much offense Metalik got. And there was a lot of times he really seemed to be like throwing off Angelico. But I liked the difference of their styles. It was almost like because Angelico learned his style from Mexican submission wrestling, he was kind of built perfectly to be this counter to luchadors. So they kind of had this back and forth, and you had exciting and interesting stuff no matter who was throwing the offense.
Definitely. Mikey.
I agree. I agree with Jesse in the sense that maybe there could have been some other people on the roster that Angelico could have fought to rack up these victories as he gets ready to face Eddie Kingston down the line. But I thought this was still an entertaining match, and I don't think losing this one will hurt Metalik's momentum, though I will be looking at the creative booking if Metalik continues to lose and against opponents that he shouldn't lose to, if that makes any sense.
It definitely does. And as was brought up by Andrew, that style was brought up on commentary. It's called the Yahweh style or the Key style, which makes complete sense in there. It boggles my mind. I never would have thought there would have been separate styles to counter the lucha style in Mexican wrestling. And that's on me for not knowing my Mexican wrestling enough. And I want to learn more about that now because it's high flying, but grounded high flying in a way, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it absolutely doesn't, but I get what you're going for.
Yeah, but there's got to be a lock for the key. Either way, we move on from a really great opening match. It was a fun match to watch, something to get on to what I felt was the first promo of the night that didn't really need to be there for any reason. I'm glad to see Kyle Fletcher on my ROH screens. I'm glad that they're setting him up to have matches down there now. He needs to get some more singles wins while Mark Davis is out, but did we need a promo about him talking about him losing? Yes, to great competition, but in general, like doing the Ethan Page shtick down here. I mean, he's a known quantity in ROH.
I mean, I don't know if it was meant to reestablish him. For people who don't get to watch as much AEW and are pretty much just watching ROH, it was good to kind of have him in there and what he's been doing while away, and establishing that he may have lost these matches, but he's done really well, and he's so young in his career that he's got a bright future ahead of him. Aside from that, I don't know if it was necessary. The promo existed. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't needed, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Kind of, that's the same from you guys too. Yeah. That's kind of where we sit with it. It was setting up a match for later in the night. We'll see Kyle Fletcher later. We'll talk about him as we go along because we then move on to a tag team that has been split over the last couple of weeks for some reason where they're doing singles matches. They're finally back together and in probably one of the quickest squash matches I've seen in a while against people that were set up. It was Terrence and Terrell Hughes, the Hughes brothers, who Caprice was all about and was really happy they were there. They did nothing. Like there was nothing to this. It was a nothing match.
I want to add to the fact that it didn't help the infantry's opponents because commentary did say who these two who their dad was, and I was just like, that just makes it worse that they got squashed. I'm like, how do
Mhm.
you have Devon Dudley's boys just be squashed like that? That really made me mad. I was just like, I love the infantry, but this did nothing for them, and it did nothing for their opponents. I was like, okay, sure, fine.
When I saw who they were facing, I actually thought at the beginning of this match that they were going to beat the infantry. I thought this was going to be like, all right, we're going to bring them in and they're going to start off a good run. And it looked like it for the first couple moments of the match, and then it quickly turned around. And before I realized that it was done, and I don't know if this was like an initiation match and they're gonna get some stuff after this. But yeah, it surprised me how quick this match was, because you could have had a really good match between the four of them and built up both sides, even with the infantry winning, which still makes sense because they're kind of the longer term ROH tag team. But yeah, I was surprised it was a squash.
I didn't like it. I didn't like the match. I'll keep it simple. It was way too fast. You didn't need to have that. Again, it was just too fast. It wasn't needed. You didn't need to squash the new Dudley boys that quickly. Let them get some time. Let them wrestle. The infantry are much more entertaining when you give them more time.
Mhm.
This, what's the appropriate way to say this? The art did not speak to me.
I will agree with you on that one. The infantry are much more fun to watch when they're in peril, when they're working against a team that really takes them to the limit. That's where their dynamicism comes into play. They use the same moves in this one, and it just was like, oh, showing off. And
Mhm.
I don't feel enough for them to be like, hey, yeah, that's great. Your show-offs, your Dolph Zigglers of your time. We want you to actually do this right. So could have been taken off there, replaced with another match. Again, maybe not. We could have had a shorter card. It would have been fine. But honestly, not what we needed there. We then cut backstage to Lexi talking to Maria Kanellis by herself, which I will say this first before we get into the actual meat of the promo. Did anybody notice how uncomfortable she is every time someone mentions her baby boys? Like the mask is coming down, and Maria, the person's like, I hate this storyline so much.
I mean,
Anybody else catch that? Or was this me?
No, I caught it too. And if lest we remember, this was the same, while not exactly in the same situation. In interviews after she and her husband got released from WWE, she hated the pregnancy storyline that they had them do in WWE over the 24/7 title. And I was just like, why are we sticking Maria in these really uncomfortable positions? I don't understand. And I'm uncomfortable for her. Like,
Yeah.
this is not okay with me.
I was very happy with Layla Hirsch interrupting her, coming in, breaking that up, because that's the dynamic I've been wanting to see.
Maria's like, oh, thank God.
Exactly. But we saw Layla Hirsch come in and apologize, kind of, for being so arrogant that she could take this on. And Maria's having none of it. And I'm enjoying that too. Like, she's like, no, I'm not just going to take you back. Did you feel this did enough for Layla to get her back on track somewhere? Do you feel like you want to watch more of Layla redeeming herself in Maria's eyes, or was this needed at all?
With this, I do. I think it did well for both of them. I'd like to see us move away from the, what do we call them? The Mama's Boys
Mama's
last week.
Boys.
The term we coined for him,
Yep.
Andrew did.
Mommy
I'd like to
dearest.
see Maria move away from that and just work with legit Layla Hirsch. I think that's a much better pairing, much more entertaining. And this was the first time in 7 or 8 weeks where I saw a promo with Maria and it was like, oh, hey, I didn't want to vomit after this. I actually enjoyed this.
Yeah, I think if they're gonna form a whole stable or group that she's managing, and Layla Hirsch is going to be a part of it with the two Mama's Boys, then what I would hope that they do is that they're able to use Layla Hirsch to focus away from that aspect of the story, maybe kind of serious up. It's really Cole Carter that just needs to be the serious, Griff Garrison's
the storyline.
See, I don't know why. I want to give the guy a chance to, because he performs well in the ring, and I think he could be a really good. He's athletic.
I'm going to hold the podcast. Defend this. How does he perform well in the ring? I'm honestly curious.
from what I've seen of him, from when he wrestles with Griff Garrison, obviously he will take almost any move because he's been beat up in their last few matches, and so he has been the one that's taken the pins. He's the way he sells a lot of the offense from the different opponents that he's faced throughout the last few matches where they've been multi-tag matches, and the way that the two of them are starting to actually function together as a tag team, I think his physical abilities will match up well with Griff Garrison, but I don't necessarily love the character. I do agree that its lasting power for being enjoyable is very limited, and I think they've long since passed that. I hope that they can develop something where I've always wanted it to be that Griff Garrison kind of pulls him away from that rather than Griff Garrison get pulled into his style of stuff. So hopefully if they brought in legit Layla Hirsch, that would help with that too. But I don't know. I guess I just don't have as much hate for Cole Carter yet as other people do.
Oh my God. In general, I hear your points. He definitely can take moves. It's just funny to me that we bring him up as we're going into the next match with the next
But you're
person up there
wrong.
who
No, I'm
also
just
has
kidding.
this problem. Yeah, which has this problem. But I feel like watching his moves. It's this guy is right out of wrestling school. He knows how to do things, but he's got no life behind it. And Griff is carrying him in that respect, and that's what's drawing it away. And the only life he finds is something disturbingly bad, like going after mommy.
You said to give him a chance. I have 8 weeks of it. He's an adequate worker. He gives me nothing to care about.
Fair.
If you're waiting for a redemption there, I don't have one. That was it.
And Andrew, we appreciate that you are so forgiving. I hope that he turns it around for you specifically, because we're jaded enough that we're not going to probably be on his side. But if he has a fan, and then he follows you, and then follows our podcast, that's all we need.
See, I didn't mind him this week only because he didn't talk. If we get him to not talk, then I'd be more invested. I just don't want him to talk. That's all I ask.
But
Let
if
him be
the best
back.
you can muster is I didn't mind him, not I was happy to see him, it's I didn't mind him, are we kind of dropping the grading system here? Is that what we're going for? We're lowering the bar that much?
Well, okay, so let me come in because El Jefe is back and I have some words. I think
Hold
on
on,
the
did I get
grand
my
scale,
tissues? I'm probably gonna start crying.
no, I'm not gonna make you cry. I'm just putting it out there. While Cole Carter is not necessarily my favorite character, he's not the worst character across all the wrestling that I watch throughout weekly. Because there are some, I get PTSD
I almost feel that's worse
thinking
though,
of some.
because you know who's worse. He's in that, and that's why it's worse for me. Is that he's in that middle ground where he's a bland worker with nothing that's elevating him up.
I also think though, like obviously he's what, 23?
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah. So I feel more like he hasn't found his style, like the thing that takes you from doing the things that everybody does and actually putting your own flair onto them to make it more than just we're going through the set moves. So hopefully he finds that works with his abilities and his personality and his talent and everything like that. I think part of it too is what he's given. He's got to work with where he's placed as well. But I think he hasn't reached that level of talent that other younger performers are. So I think he's just raw. He's green. He's
Andrew, for your sake, I will give him some more time.
Because we like
also. Also, I will say you said I'm a fan. I wouldn't say necessarily that. I I just don't hate him.
Here's the thing. With your arguments there, I also say I will not hate him as well. You're right. He is quite young and all that thing. I think what I'm having a reaction to, and I love that we're going down this rabbit hole in the third match of the night, is that when he was first brought up, before they brought Griff Garrison on with him, when he started this Maria match thing, he was touted on commentary as like the next big thing. He is this prodigy. He is. They pushed him so hard on commentary, and the contrarian in me was like, he hasn't shown me that. And now with you going so hard on it, it makes me not want to watch him, because you're putting the pressure on him ahead of time, and he's not able to live up to it. And I feel for this kid. Like, I don't want to yuck people's yum. If you like him, that's great. And I also don't want to say he won't ever get better. But for right now, the position he's put in, he's not ready for. Yeah. And it's hurting the whole product of it, because he's trying so hard to fit that role that's not there. And so empathy-wise, I feel for him. He's still a douchebag as a character, but that's okay.
No, and that's fair, because I didn't actually see him until right before the push with Griff Garrison. So I've only seen post that, so I haven't seen most of the other things that came before.
We're angry.
And I can totally understand with all of that. If I had been through that phase of him, I'd probably feel pretty frustrated. So, I feel your pain in that regard.
He won't go away.
All right, I think we've hit rock bottom on going down this rabbit hole. So, speaking of,
have we though? Because we're about to talk to somebody else who some of us don't necessarily are a fan of. But I didn't mind this match. This was fun.
Gentlemen, can we give a moment of just jubilation for Dalton Castle and the boys being back on our TV screens? And this is a Dalton Castle in peril. This is Dalton Castle who doesn't know who he is anymore, so he's over the top more than usual.
He's literally Liberace.
Oh my God. And put against a slab of meat you had on the side of the road that basically hung with him, and Dalton Castle made him look passable. This is the magic.
The first 2 minutes of this was a roller coaster for me. I didn't know the card, so I came in and I watched Titantron comes out, the Workhorseman. All right, just Anthony Henry. Shit.
And it has to say on his Chiron, the Workhorseman's Anthony Henry. He can't be Anthony Henry on his own. He has to have the Workhorseman first.
I was really excited. JD Drake's coming out. Cool, something entertaining. Damn it, never mind. Oh wait, Dalton Castle's coming. So I was like up and down and all over the place, and I was mesmerized by Dalton Castle's entrance. I absolutely loved it. And that's just the entrance for me.
Oh, yes. Gentlemen, were you happy to see our Lord and Savior Dalton Castle on our TV screens?
Absolutely.
And I know I'm going overboard now. Tell me, Andrew, how much do you hate Dalton Castle? I want to know.
No, I love Dalton Castle. I'm pumped to see that. Clearly, they're setting up a television title run with Dalton Castle, and I'm happy for. Huh? Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like the way he's been going, it seems like he is that on the fringe, on the edge, kind of, ready to snap, but in a very wonderful way. And I've been waiting for this to start. I've been wanting, like, every time they brought him up for a promo, I'm like, all right, cool, put him on the card too. Like, give us a promo in the beginning. Let's see him on the card later. So I was happy to see this start. It makes sense for a person, I guess, the level of Henry of being one half of a tag team to put in there as his first, kind of victim. But I'm ready to see him face higher tier opponents. But yeah, just put him on the card every week. I'm down.
Cafe.
I really like this match. I really did. I'm happy to see Dalton back in the ring. And I do agree with Andrew. I think Dalton's going to take that title because commentary made it a point to mention that Samoa Joe is days away from becoming the longest reigning television champion, beating Jay Lethal's record, which I'm glad that Samoa Joe's about to break it. It's going to be good. I will say that when I saw the boys, I saw some boys. I didn't see the boys, but it's fine. But I like seeing this more paranoid Dalton Castle, who literally is a blank slate, a blank canvas, has no idea. He's trying to finish this art project, and he literally has about 2 hours to turn it in before the deadline, and it's still blank. So he's having a soft reboot, if you will, trying to figure out who he is, what he needs to do. He knows the crowd loves him, but now he's just... If this builds to him trying to top himself in over the top shenanigans every single week to where he just builds and builds and builds and builds, then I'm actually here for it. I think Anthony Henry was a good choice here because I don't hate him as much as Cole Carter. I just think he's unseasoned. He is like this. He is
Really
like a
raising
piece
that
of
bar again.
like here. Okay, so here's the thing. I want to be fair with a lot of the wrestlers because as one half of the NXT team, all I am watching is developmental. So if those kids can do it, I want to be patient to see where these people go. And I'm not too up to my knowledge of Anthony Henry on the independent scene outside of what I've seen on Ring of Honor. While I don't necessarily dig his character, and I do agree that JD Drake has more charisma and kind of carries both of them in terms of that charisma factor for their team, I think in-ring wise, while it's not necessarily my favorite type of style of wrestling, I don't hate it. And I think going up against someone who's as unorthodox as Dalton Castle, both in in-ring ability and character-wise, I think it works in a weird way. But I also agree that it was the right choice that Dalton Castle won here, because if not, then I would be looking at Ring of Honor with very sideways stares. Exactly. It was like, hey, excuse.
Exactly. Andrew, what did you say there? You had something you wanted to bring up.
I the Samoa Joe comment about his title reign kind of frustrated me because catching up on AEW, he's over challenging for the AEW title now, and he's been over there. I've seen him more often in AEW than Ring of Honor, probably in a week than in a month. And it just reminds me of the like, I won the title, now I'm going to go off and do other things and not really defend it, and not even in the company. So that's how I've had it for so long, and it's not even that I wish he didn't have the title. I just like to see him actually be on Ring of Honor and defend that title. So it's kind of frustrating for that to be the case.
Welcome to our complaints about Claudio for the last year and a half or about year and everything else. The women's title is the main title on ROH. It's always there. It's being defended. It's in storyline. This is where you come for women's wrestling because none of the men want to be here for some reason. It's ridiculous. Give it to Dalton Castle. Have him run there. It'd be perfect.
Please.
Yeah.
And for the amount of tag matches we get on ROH to not have the tag titles present at all.
Oh, do not get me started because I
did like the call out at the end of the night, though.
Yes,
I did, and that left. I love that call out. But before we get there, we get to another backstage promo. Mark Sterling celebrating with. Yes, they're both under his employ, but I thought they broke them up, and they're
That's
not the
what I said. I thought they broke up,
and then they are. And Tony Nese is just flexing his pecs, and Josh Woods is being Josh Woods. They're having a little like we're so good party, and Ethan Page strolls in.
Listen,
and I honestly enjoyed how he took down Tony Nese. I really did enjoy that.
I loved it.
Go ahead, discuss.
Listen, first and foremost, I agree with you, JVL. I was like, I thought they broke up. Commentary told us they broke up. They've been broken up for a while now. They don't come out together anymore. Okay, sure, fine. Also, Tony Nese, I'm like, hey, call me. But
he's got nothing.
Yeah,
he's got nothing on Kenny Omega's nipples from last night. I'll say that.
Oh my gosh, you can cut those things. You can cut diamonds with those things.
But
all right, let's do a separate video on that.
I'm just
that's the after hours at the Patreon. No, listen. On paper,
I'm listening.
Page,
Tell me.
On paper, Ethan Page versus Josh Woods is actually really fun. On paper, it has the potential to be a really, really fun match. And I do appreciate that there's continuity, which I can't say for a lot of the other shows that we watch around here. But there's continuity because Ethan lost last week to Tony Nese through some shenanigans. And then he called Tony Nese out. Ethan Page's charisma on the mic is always a thing of beauty to watch. Smart Mark, we do need to work on our timing, though. Because he accidentally interrupted twice throughout this whole entire thing. But it didn't really take away from me for that much. But listen, Ethan feuding with these two, or specifically Josh for next week, I'm here for it. And Smart Mark, I actually like the character. He's growing on me like a rash.
It served its purpose. It set up the match. I'm excited to see that match next week. I am still very, very upset. I'm distraught right now because this is now my second week that I have not gotten my group exercise.
Standing up again.
I'm getting
All right,
very
here we go.
flabby, and it's bothering me.
Ow. Ow.
Sit down. Your ceiling's too low.
My ceiling is too low.
I
You two
know.
didn't stand up. Damn it. I knew Andrew wasn't going to do it. Mikey, you're not with us on this one? What is wrong? Come on.
I'm the boss. I give the orders. I don't follow them. What are you talking about?
Yes, boss.
Yes,
And-
boss. We'll move on to the
and-
next match, boss.
Until Tony Nese calls me, I don't listen to him either.
Well, someone who wasn't listening to one of their partners as well was in the next match here because we had Mercedes Martinez and Diablo IE Diamante taking on Athena and Billy Starks, who just weren't communicating. It broke down all the way. We're finally having the falling apart
Yep.
of this amazing minion and master relationship.
Why did we have this here? Why did we have this now? We didn't need it. There was no build-up. It was, they get attacked this week. Cool, tag match now. Where was
what?
anything else?
Hold up. Time
Tornado
out.
tag match.
Tornado tag match.
Tornado tag match.
And
Because
yeah,
they're putting stuff on there for AEW Fight Forever.
I mean, that's very true. Jesse, you're kind of right, but you're also kind of wrong.
Oh,
Only
Yes, boss.
Well, here's why. While I don't necessarily agree the build to this said match wasn't necessarily the best, there were bits that happened last week. Even though I wasn't here, I still did my homework and I watched and I took notes and everything. And so because of what occurred last week throughout the show, because I listened to commentary too, because Caprice and Ian are the best. But they did say that because of what happened during the match earlier, and then with the inclusion of the backstage stuff later, that we were going to get this match this week. Again, I don't agree that the quick build was necessarily what we needed, but it was there.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I must have missed that.
Thank you, boss.
I still don't think that this was the right time to have that match. This could have been a longer
absolutely.
build.
I 100% agree with you on that, but did I mind? No. This match ruled.
This match had some highlights to it. There were definitely some great. They're all good workers. That was the nice part to see about that. But I agree with you as well. Like, this was kind of, if you're waiting to get to Final Battle for anything to do with Athena and Mercedes, this was a little early to kind of pull that trigger and get that set up. There could have been more time, and I there was many places they could go with the Billy Starks angle too. For those who haven't seen it or wanted to watch it, it was actually inspiring to see how they put this match together as a tornado tag. They didn't pull focus as much. It wasn't just four people brawling at the same time. There were ups and downs to the match.
Mhm.
It was great to see the character work where Billy was celebrating and happy she was doing things right, and then getting the crap kicked out of herself. That powerbomb blockbuster that Mercedes and Diamante did was insane. Like, that was my move of the night, honestly, at that point.
Well, and the way Billy Starks landed in that was just, that was rough. But the victory roll spear from Athena and Billy Starks was a pretty cool, little tag
That
team
was
maneuver.
beautiful.
There were some interesting parts in there that were really fun to see them do, but it seemed like in the middle there were a couple lulls where they were, and it kind of worked for Athena and Billy Starks because you could buy it into their relationship of that not having great communication between each other. But there were even some moments between Diamante and Martinez that felt like, all right, what are we going to do now? Okay, now let's set them up for this kind of a thing where they were kind of talking in between each other and had to figure out what they were doing next. But then when it started up again, they did a lot of really fun things between all four of them.
So two of my, I think, best moves of this that I saw this match were Athena pulled off this running head scissors inverted Russian leg sweep. That was really cool. And then let's talk about Billy's spinning heel kick. Holy crap. She's wearing all black, so she lost a lot of her colors, but if she had all colors, that would have been the rainbow mask. We got the black mask and we got rainbow mask because it was beautiful. It was flawless.
It's on par with Rob Van Dam's spinning heel kicks that were that fast and brutal. It was really cool. I also, I will say here, all the different pin stuff, but I loved Billy's smiling stinger splash. She comes in, and she's, I did it. It's just so much fun to have.
I love when she did that after she threw into the barricade. I did it.
That had me laughing. The other one that made me chuckle a bit is when Diamante gets hit with, I want to say, a senton from Athena. No, so Athena lands on. So no, Billy lands on Diamante. No, wait. The point is
Start
that
over, Mikey. I'm going to cut all this. We'll get up to this. Go for it.
Yeah, Athena throwing Billy Starks as a weapon from the top rope
Mm.
made me chuckle a lot too.
That was great. The electric chair up into the German suplex. So
Oh
up on the
my
was
gosh.
pop-up German suplex from Athena was insane.
Mhm.
There was a lot of great spots in this match, and let me finish before the three of you start yelling at me, please, boss. If you allow me to finish this statement.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, never mind. No, so there were moments, and I think it was appropriate and set up that way for the psychology of the match, where Billy was performing better than Athena, and I'm talking about breaking up pins and protecting pins. Athena wasn't doing that. Billy was. So I think that Billy outperformed Athena there, but of course that leads to Billy eating the pin and Athena getting PO'd about it.
Mhm.
Because that breaks her perfect record. She's now lost a match, though she didn't take the pin. So and she'll be touting that she didn't lose the match. It's a good storyline setup, but again, you're right. This was too early on in the process to have this going here. And now, how do you build? You've already gotten to the break. Do you push it farther and make it even more violent, or do you take it to its logical conclusion, which is they're going to split up in a little bit there because Billy will finally stand up for herself? Like, that's the whole point of this, is to set up Billy as a Athena challenger. And if you want Mercedes to be there at Final Battle, this is a little early. I don't know. Overall, good match. We definitely enjoyed what it was, but yeah, it needed some time in our estimation. What did need some time, this was also a very favorite match of mine. I enjoyed this match a lot next because we never forgot that Kyle Fletcher's an amazing worker, but you put him against Willie Mack, and it is an amazing setup with the two of them. I was so happy. I got Dalton Castle and Willie Mack in the same night. I was spoiled. I don't know about you all.
Yeah,
it was just a good, crisp match. It's watching Willie Mack work is always fun and impressive because you're always going, wait, he can do that at that size. And I like that running Hurricane Rana that he does. I'm just impressed. It makes me think maybe I could do that, and I know I can't. But still, somebody that size doing it, it's very inspiring.
Yeah, that's I love whenever I've been able to see Brian Cage and Willie Mack wrestle, because the two of them are the two big men that just do things that you're like, nope, that's not possible. To see Kyle Fletcher go against Willie Mack, it was cool to see a shot against another veteran. And there, especially in the ending moment, but there were some moments that you get to see how strong Kyle Fletcher could be too. And so, you saw Willie Mack keeping up with him in the speed and high impact kind of realm. So to pull that off at the
Shining
end
Wizard, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that hammerlock pile driver.
Yeah.
Pulling that off on Willie Mack, just impressive.
Mikey.
I loved it. That's how I felt this whole entire time. I was like, I actually really enjoyed a lot of these. And again, I agree with Andrew. Willie Mack and Brian Cage, whenever they wrestled, is always a feast for the eyes. It is art in motion. And again, I am an unapologetic Kyle Fletcher stan. I think the kid is great. I think he is a great worker, and he continues to surprise me because, again, very unorthodox, pulls things out. I'm like, I didn't know that you could do that, but I appreciate it. It's great. And of course, Willie Mack always gets my vote of one of my favorites because it's Willie Mack. How can you not like the guy? Like,
well, and we also for Jesse, we didn't get a jobber entrance on this one. Both got entrances, both came in. We had a competitive match. So
we had a proper competitive mid-card match.
There we are. That's where we need to be. We then move on from our proper mid-card match to the fallout of the Athena thing, which I loved this interaction.
Yeah.
This made me
It was.
I hated it.
I thought it was
What?
plot full of actual anger, actual rage, and it was the logical conclusion of how it ended in the ring. Yes, again, the timing was bad, but I feel like this is where they needed to go with it. And she made Billy cry. I hated that. That hurt me because Billy shouldn't cry like that.
That's why I said I hated it. The promo itself, impeccable, wonderful. As a person, as a human, which I hate admitting I am, I hated it because I don't like seeing Billy Starks upset. I don't like seeing her cry. I feel like I need to go and be the Brody King to her that Brody King's doing for Julia Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I need to protect her. Don't yell at her. What's wrong with you?
I love that Lexi's playing both sides.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That part made it worse for me because as soon as Billy's crying, Lexi doesn't say anything. She just immediately goes in for the hug. I'm like, stop it, Lexi. You're making me cry.
I love that every reaction Lexi had during this promo, it could have been for either of them. Like,
Yeah.
the like shaking her head no at one moment, it could have been like she was like, "Oh, I can't believe Billy did this," but then at the same time it's almost like, "Oh, I can't believe this is happening to her." Like it's so fun to watch her. She's we say it every week. She's one of the best parts of this trio in this story, and she has quickly become my favorite backstage interview. Like everything she's a part of, she's great.
I love that she can switch back and forth between those characters too, and
Mhm.
still make it truthful to who she is,
Mhm.
which is great. She can be part of storyline and
Mhm.
be part of the backstage crew. I know it hurts to watch that, and your empathy is amazing, and your heart is big, and we all love you for that. But this was a perfectly put together promo to make.
No,
you
I'm
feel
with
bad.
Jesse
They
too.
did
I
their
was
job.
like, my heart hurt after this. I'm like, no, don't yell at Billy Stark. She is literally a young one because she
She's
barely
18.
turned she's barely turned 18. Like,
She's
Don't
a
worry,
child.
she's gonna get her John Wick moment. She's gonna get pushed too far, and she's gonna snap, and she's gonna go after Athena. So
I'm not saying this because you just set it up there, but you know who had their John Wick moment in the next match? It was Blake Christian. This was his
holy
coming out
shit,
party to
this
kill
match.
everybody. We had a 4-way survival match with Slim J, who I forgot how much I enjoy watching him work.
so good.
Gringo Loco, Blake Christian, and Gravity. This was these are the future and the most amazing workers we have. Let's put them all together and just give you a smorgasbord of fun.
Oh my gosh.
My match of the night, I could not turn away. I have very little notes about it because I couldn't stop watching it.
The Blake Christian 3 rotation senton to the outside.
The 450 tope, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. So insane. His speed on that was ridiculous.
Oh my goodness.
I just stopped writing notes because they were going a mile a minute. They started at 1,000, stayed at 1,000. It was a great match. This was my match of the night as well. Every time I watch Gringo Loco, I enjoy him more and more. I want to see more of him. I want to see him actually get some wins. When Slim J first came out, my first thought was, who is this? But then thankfully the announcers filled me in on that. And I was so impressed with this match.
I loved it. I love this match as well. This is also my match of the night because these 4 men killed it. I want to say, this match had my move of the night just because of how much I yelled at my screen and just how much I enjoyed it. Slim J actually had my move of the night for me. That's the Skywalker. I'm like, holy shit. I was like, what is this? Because here's the thing. I've never seen that finish. I've never seen that move. And I was just like, the height, the rotation, what is this madness?
He used to pull it off a lot in old ROH. That is something that's old school, his moveset that he hasn't used in a while. It's really cool to see. I also enjoyed Ian Riccaboni saying, "What just happened? Gravity?" And Caprice goes, "Yes, exactly. That's what you just said. Gravity just happened to him.
Yeah.
As gravity come down to break up the pin." Also, that pinning sequence at the end where it's the power bomb, the backwards power bomb from Gringo, and then the splash, and then the gravity splash on top of that to take it all out of him. What a way to end a match. You got everyone involved. They did their stuff, and they all probably killed themselves, and Blake Christian picked up the win. Oh my God.
I think the best part about this match, the most entertaining part, and the reason why I picked it for match of the night is, first off, shockingly, everybody got an entrance. Really like that. Really gets me vested into it. Secondly, I didn't come into the match knowing who was going to win, which is important for me to suspend my disbelief in reality to not know who's going to win. That gets me interested. Sometimes you know who's going to win and it's enjoyable to get the journey, but I don't want to do that every single match.
Yeah, it was when they announced that it was going to be a 4-way, I was like, all right, cool. Who's going to come? And then Slim J is the first one to come out. I was like, who is going to be in this 4-way match and why? And, a minute into it, I was like, I don't care. This match is awesome. It was so much fun. And yeah, that top rope powerbomb by Gringo Loco was insane. Just the moves all over the place were awesome, and especially Gringo Loco's he's another one that's surprising to the what he can do in the ring. Obviously, Gravity has been insane on TV lately, and Slim J like just pulling it out was just awesome. This was a fun match.
Oh man, I needed a breather after this. I needed to sit down and kind of have a match that would take me somewhere. And the next match didn't as much. It was a full on squash, but
Okay.
I enjoyed the intensity that Layla Hirsch brought to it. It
I
was
feel
not
Jesse
just
has other feelings.
oh, Jesse has other options, and I'm in the room with him, and I'm worried.
Hey, Jesse.
Did you feel like Layla Hirsch needed a longer match with Nyx to kind of showcase some stuff, or do you feel like this shouldn't have been a match at all on this card? We should have waited till next week to kind of build that more with Maria. Like, how do you feel we should have done this? Here it comes.
Give me something more competitive. I am growing weary of these formulaic squashes. It's somebody big, cool, no entrance, somebody standing in the corner, making their Ring of Honor debut to bleep myself, please, lose every time with no actual match going on. I think she got a clothesline in.
Clothesline,
Maybe.
and she stared her down a bit. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
by the way, Mikey's already sworn like 5 times, so I'll bleep out whatever you want me to.
I'm the boss. I'm allowed to swear. No, I'm just kidding. I only swore once. Calm down.
I wasn't thrilled that it was a squash. I wouldn't have I wouldn't have minded if it had more length to it and Layla Hirsch still dominated most of the match. But I almost felt like as a squash, it also wasn't it wasn't a satisfying squash as satisfying as a squash can be. It wasn't a lot of like, I want to see some big high impact kind of stuff or some brutal things, and it just didn't feel like some of the stuff that Layla Hirsch can normally do. So it's like, if you're gonna go there, fully commit to it, or preferably give us more in-depth matches, because I want to see what this loss did to Layla Hirsch, how she approached Maria. I want to see that brewing and developing, both when she's telling us, but also when she's showing us,
Flipping off the crowd as they're booing her, which is even funnier.
Yeah.
It was a little, the intensity was good. I just don't know whether it did anything for her in the long run. Same with the next match as well, with Darius Martin finally getting his singles thing against Lee Moriarty. And we figured with Shane Taylor being at ringside, it was going to be a dusty finish. But this one went on too long for what it was. Like, I felt like they went too far with it because they showcased something that didn't need to be there. I don't know. How did you all feel about this?
I hated this match.
As my illustrious Bi-Conic compatriot to the right of me had said earlier, this was a wet fart. That's all it was. It didn't need the ending. I mean, I get it for the heel move. Great, fine, whatever. These are two good performers. Let them cook. Let them work. Let something natural and organic come out of it, and you'll have a pretty solid match. We didn't need to have Shane Taylor just punch him up. He's done. That served no purpose. I'm done with that. Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, when Darius Martin came out without Action Andretti, and they kind of tried to explain some of it, with commentary, I instantly was like, why is he not there, and how is Shane Taylor going to get involved? This match could have been similar to the opener that we got. I mean, you got a guy who's got a very unique technical style, and another guy who's got a very unique kind of high-flying striking style. And the two of them together could have had a phenomenal. I mean, just the two of them alone, if you let them do what they're best at, could have had match of the night. And I don't know if they're trying to build something between Darius and Action and Shane Taylor Promotions, or if they're just saying like, hey, everybody look out. We're just going to go do whatever we want to everybody else. But yeah, it just didn't really push anyone anywhere interesting.
We had this match already. It was the first match of the night. The grounded technical style versus the high flyer, and it was done better earlier in the night. That's all we need from Mikey, just a grunt of pain.
This match didn't need to happen. It really, really didn't. And this, in my opinion, from everything involved, I hated this match. This was my worst match of the night, and I'm gonna tell you why. For a couple different reasons. Number one, the most pettiest is I want to take a moment of silence. Tyga Styles no longer Lee Moriarty's entrance, and I like that theme song. I don't like Shane Taylor's entrance music. I don't care if it's Shane Taylor Productions. I'm like, listen, if you're going to play some sort of hip hop trap beat, like we got to update it. That's like, that's the petty of me. But again, these two already had fought like a couple weeks ago, and we had the same outcome. So why are we doing it again? I understand that not everyone watches Ring of Honor like every single week, so sometimes people may not have seen that. But for me, as a Ring of Honor fan, I understand that you have to keep in mind the people who don't religiously watch this thing like we do and review it. But because we do, I can start to see that we're rebooking certain things and you're waiting for weeks ahead. Shane Taylor did not need to be involved in this match. I would rather have Lee win over Darius cleanly just because he's better than Lee, and that would have been a better storyline. But on top of that, too, again, and this is just an overall booking thing, Lee and Shane are spinning their wheels in Ring of Honor. I don't know what the hell is happening over with them because I thought they were supposed to feud with Keith Lee, which I don't know what's going on with that either. Like,
It's the swerve thing with Keith Lee. No one can feud with him for more than like 2 weeks.
we haven't even gotten a match with them yet, and I'm just it just makes me upset because of the fact that Shane Taylor, while he's not necessarily my favorite, I do want better things for him, but especially for Lee Moriarty. I'm just like, this man has been dedicated. He's been putting in the work both all over the place, and you have thrown him with pretty much almost everybody, and he's made it work even when you rip them apart to push the other people in the tag team to do other things. And for me, I'm just like, this does nothing for Lee. This does nothing for Darius. We're spinning our wheels. I don't want to see this match again unless you want to further develop the storyline. If you're going to bring action back, if it's not action, bring somebody back and make this just a tag team match to figure it out. But I'm done with the storylines. I hate it. There's no depth to it. And as a writer, it makes me upset.
We're all done, and I'm sorry, Mikey, that you were upset with that. It made you upset. Just like this next match made me upset in the fact that the Renegades are being used as single stars again. Why?
I thought we had this conversation, Jerry Lynn and Malcolm. I was just like, Jerry Lynn and Maria and Stokely, I thought we had this conversation already.
But, category to that, welcome back, Rachel Ellering, the Queen of Strong Smile, who I was so happy to see on my screen getting her entrance and being pushed as an actual legitimate threat. She's such a good worker, and she finally got to have a match that wasn't her against Athena. This was great. No one else believes. Okay, I'm the only one here.
No.
I was unaware of Rachel Ellering. I like this match. I like seeing the Renegades. I'd like them to stay as a tag team, but I like to see at least one or the other highlighted in singles just to see what they can do. I know I definitely had foot and mouth a couple weeks ago when I mentioned that I want to see more of them, and everyone kind of, crapped all over me. So thank you for that. I certainly have not, harbored that bitter hatred down below. I'll deal with that tumor later. Back to what I was saying. I still want to see more of the Renegades, and I like the spot where everyone's like, "Oh, that's disgusting." Where she did that, where Robin did the fish hook, and then put her hands in her mouth. Like, I enjoyed that. Well, like, that's the kind of crazy in that I enjoy for those characters.
She also screwed her on the inside of the mouth too, because Rachel pulled out. She was bleeding on her lip, and so she wiped her blood. I saw the blood on Robin's hands, putting it in her mouth. I'm like, "Oh, that's hepatitis right there, funny." That's good right there.
I would say that would be disgusting, but me and Andrew saw way crazier stuff for Bound for Glory between two knockouts. Like, that was tame compared to what we saw.
I believe it.
Well, do we rename it the hepatitis hook instead of the fish hook then?
We could at that point.
It
does roll off the tongue a bit better, literally and figuratively. I will also say one thing that bothered me too is that the Renegades, again, when they're in singles competition, I know their experience. I know they're a good tag team in certain respects, but Robin seems very green still. She's working like Jade Cargill used to, which is just not snug, but dangerous. Where her strikes are a little too close. She's a little too far. She's going into the craziness of the character versus actually working safe. And luckily, Ellering is a good enough worker and knows the business enough to be able to work around that. But if she was in there with a less, established talent, I feel like there could have been an injury there that might not have come off well. So that worries me going forward if we keep doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree about the Renegades, and I've said this in previous times is seeing. I would love to see like a women's title, whether it's ROH or AEW, because I feel like there's so many women that do really well, and it's like they're all built like trying to potentially be in the world title spot, especially in Ring of Honor, where there's only one title for them to really go after. And they've got some solid tag team performers under the AEW umbrella in general. And the Renegades could potentially be, at least be a good part of that division. They've done really well in their tag matches since they've grown really well. And in that respect, I think it kind of made sense. It was kind of like the Dalton Castle match that happened earlier. It was half of a tag team going against a singles competitor. Pretty sure the singles competitor is going to come out victorious. Doesn't necessarily pull anything away from the tag team, and makes the singles competitor look a little stronger. I thought the match was all right. I think part of it had to do with just lack of experience on one side. But it'll be interesting to see if Rachel Ellering's going to actually be sticking around, and we're going to get to see more of her in the future, because it would be another nice addition to the women's division.
I would like ROH women's tag titles.
Yeah,
100%.
They've got enough talent on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could do that, and then I would like to see, especially in the state now, because one are so young in their career and other are still early in their career. But I'd like to see the Renegades versus the Iconics at some point.
It'd be amazing
one
if they
half
come
of
back.
them
They're both
is
moms right now.
getting back into the ring right now. So now that she had
Yeah,
a
Peyton Royce.
baby,
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
true. I will say this also.
Mhm.
One thing I did notice is with the way Rachel Ellering presents her character, I feel like she could step into that Willow Nightingale role as Willow transitions to being a heel. She'd be a perfect setup for that. So kind of want to see that kind of go a little farther if we can. And the other good thing about an ROH women's tag title, we know that Tony Khan won't book it on AEW TV, so it'll stay on ROH, which is great.
JVL, we need to be careful because there's a thing called equivalent exchange. And we already experienced that not too long ago. We got the world title back, and I've already said this. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the tag team and the 6-man are being perpetuated as props than actual titles, and equivalent exchange sucks.
And still, compared to the titles we supposedly have on Ring of Honor, like the television, the world title, they're still not shown up as much as it would be nice for them to actually show up. Even if they're not being defended, it'd be nice if they were like present at cards and things like that. It's
where
rough.
is Shibata?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you'd like an ROH 24/6 title off on Tuesdays.
Oh my god.
I swear, if Ring of Honor goes near that level of absurdity, I may or may not just dip. I was just like, nope, nope.
It's the Ring
That
of
seems
Honor
like a weird
always
thing to do.
title.
Ring of Honor always title, always.
If you're gonna do it, don't call it something stupid like the 21st, like WWE with the 24/7 titles. Do what DDT is doing right now with Hiromu Takahashi is their new like world heavyweight always title, where they literally will fight anywhere and everywhere. Like if you have it like that, then I'd be more invested in it. But
if ROH did that, it would be booked on AEW Rampage only, and we would never see it on ROH.
That's what I've been saying they should do with the FTW title. Is it should just be fight the world. Whoever holds it should just be going everywhere, wrestling whoever.
Like Hook shows up in AAA somewhere and fights somebody for it. That'd be amazing.
Seriously.
We then I have no transition for this one because we come off of Rachel Ellering to our main event.
4 minutes. This is how long that match went.
So before we get to the of it all, especially the wasting of a couple good teams in this, because we have the Gates of Agony versus the Iron Savages versus the Mama's Boys. I enjoyed the crowd chanting beef at Beefcake Boulder. That was amazing. I enjoyed his kind of thing where he did the death flapjack and like the death drops and stuff like that. He was running wild. It was fun to see that. I also loved the dynamic of Nana, Maria, and Jack Johnson all down around ringside.
Let the managers fight. That'd be fun.
Yes.
it was kind of there. I was very upset. Iron Savages just were kind of wasted in this match. I'm glad they didn't eat the pin, but in general, this was kind of just a way to set up Gates of Agony to take on whatever is next. And I did enjoy Khan yelling at the end of the thing, going, "MJF, get your ass down here. You're running scared at this point." So those were the things I found.
Yep.
I can't say anything else. Go for it.
So
go ahead.
Go for it. No, you can start because I'm going to take forever.
I did. One of the first things that I noticed about this match was I loved that all three tag teams came down with a manager. That, I mean, is just classic tag team right there. That was so good. And they're all very different managers. So that was fun. There was a moment when Boulder was going after Toe outside, and Toe reversed and threw him into the barricade, and it was like Nana, one of the cable guys, and like a camera operator or something, like did not realize what was happening, and you just see them all scatter out of the way right before he comes flying in, and it was so
Almost
great.
hit Nana. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was so good. But yeah, it was. If they're going to do that, which again, I would love for those titles to be back, and I would love for us to actually get regular tag team matches, because there's so many good tag teams in Ring of Honor, and there's so many different styles of tag teams that I don't think we need these multi-tag tag team matches. It feels like when they're like the 6 women tag matches, because we don't know what to do with these 6 people, so we'll just put them into pairs of 3s. And it's like with the tag teams, we don't know what to do with them, so just put them in 3 or 4 tag team matches. Instead, we could have got a 7-8 minute match between Gates of Agony and Iron Savages as the main event, and really get to see what Gates of Agony can do. But yeah,
Mikey.
So I will start off with the positives. Anytime that Iron Savages gets to be in a match, I am biasedly going to like it immediately, because Iron Savages are great. Hell, I bought a tank top with their faces on it, so that's obviously a good thing. What makes me not like this match is, again, I feel that while I am glad that they did not take the pin, I do feel that Iron Savages were like Casper the Friendly Ghost. They were non-existent in this match for most of it, outside of their normal spots. And I'm kind of noticing that that's how they're being booked. Oh, over the various different programs that they're involved in. They do their spots, and then they end up losing, which is not making me feel great about it. Again, this goes back to what I say all the time. You have you have 2 great tag teams and Griff Garrison.
He got him to smile, and he didn't want to smile. I love it.
Zing! I come I'm here for the teehees and the ha-has. But outside of those 2 teams and Griff Garrison, you literally could do a program with this. And I mean, if you want to throw infantry in there at some point, sure. You have enough. You literally have 4 men's tag teams right here. The fact that the ROH tag titles are on a world champion on a different night of the week irritates me. And the fact that said titles are going to be defended at Full Gear, at first on paper sounded good, until I found out who it was going to be against. And I'm like, God, what are we doing? I was just like, what is happening? I don't like the choice for that. I don't like it at all. I really don't. And again, I mean, Athena's killing it, but the lack of champions is starting to wear thin on me. I'm not asking you to defend these titles every single week, but I need something from your champions, whether it be a video package, a vignette, something, because Athena's literally carrying the whole entire company on her back with her women's championship. Wow. Every other, and you know what? Eddie's trying, because at least we have Eddie's defending that thing. I just wish he was on Ring of Honor more, and at least we're building towards that. But your tag titles, television title, the 6-man, the pure championship have been nowhere to be seen the last couple of weeks, and I'm starting to lose patience with that. Again, we have 8 weeks to final battle. I need to start seeing something, because I'm tired of repeating myself when we go into these pay-per-view reviews. Like, the pay-per-view was awesome. The build sucked. And as a storyteller,
Inherently so.
this is going to be blasphemous to say, I think I can write and book better than what is currently happening right now for a lot of these talents. I'm just putting it out there.
Definitely. All right, Jesse. We've laid the groundwork. Pump some iron, drink the sauce. Tell us what's going on.
I have very little positive things to say about this match.
Beef.
Yes,
Beef.
I'll give you that. Beef. That's all we need to say about that.
Beef.
But if I could ask my Bi-Conics family here for a moment, boss, would that be okay?
Yes,
I'm waiting for a yes from Mikey.
Yes, I give you permission, Jesse. Go for it.
Okay, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me for another rendition of Acre's Alcove. And this one might be a little bit of a longer one, but it's worth it when we get there, trust me. So, since the beginning of let's try that, start over. Yeah. Since the beginning of existence, people have been struggling with the question, where do we go when we die? People of science would have you believe we just become one with the earth and nothing more. People of the faith, well, they have an entirely different perspective. But what about people like you and me? You see, we're special. Death is nothing for us. This whole world we're living in right now is our own hell. And our own personal hell is that we are subjected to overproduced, underwhelming, multi-man main event tag matches week after week after week, which do nothing but fail to deliver. Put your women in the main event. They are, without question, the best part of your talent roster right now. You can do better. I believe in you.
I'm not even on mic. That was incredible. That was well put, eerie, and also very true. I don't think we can follow that. That is a great way to kind of cap off that crap of a match and get to our ending here. That was ROH for the evening, last evening. That was how we kind of got through. Jesse, I'll say you kind of turned me around to your point of view on this show just by going through all that. I thought it was a little more up and down than I remembered. Let's go around the horn, starting with El Jefe, going to Andrew, then you, and then I. Give us your empanada scale or your other scale for what you thought of Ring of Honor for this week.
I am going, at least for Ring of Honor, because I think it's more fitting given the fact that I love the Iron Savages. So I'm going to retire the empanada scale just for Ring of Honor, and I'm going to debut the secret sauce scale because I think it's a fun rating system. So out of 10 secret sauce.
How many liters of secret sauce did you drink?
And I still think this is generous. I am giving this 6 liters of secret sauce out of 10 for the simple fact that while I think for the majority of this, I did have a fun time. Ring of Honor does make me smile when I watch it. My big issue is the continual lack of developing stories outside of Billy and Athena. There's nothing else going on. The lack of champions having some sort of presence on the show is starting to hurt. And now that you announced that the final pay-per-view for Ring of Honor is in 8 to 9 weeks from now, Ring of Honor really needs to start turning it around because, again, like I said previously, I'm tired of always saying during the pay-per-view reviews, this was a great pay-per-view, but the build to this was horrible. And I don't want to keep saying that. And that's just not a Ring of Honor problem. That's just a whole entire wrestling community problem right now. Well,
100%.
There's one exception. NXT has actually been the only one that has built storylines properly.
Andrew?
I gave this a 6.25. So, my mathematical scale of 1 out of 10. There were 2 squashes, which I don't even rank. And I feel like this was a card that at the end of the day, if I didn't catch it, I didn't miss much. It didn't push anything forward. There were some fun moments, but you could have taken all those moments probably with another card and put them into that. I feel like instead of trying to do so much in the time that they had, maybe, learn to self-edit a little bit, do some focusing. And I agree. They need to get some titles on some of the people that are showing up every week or at least every other week. There's plenty of people in Ring of Honor that could hold those titles, would be great champions for the company, and could really helm a division. And they just need to really stop trying to throw too much into too little.
Understood. Jesse.
For me, it was a mixed bag. The stories have to find themselves. They've got 8 weeks to do so. They have not found me, so I'm going to go full theme here, and I'm going to give it 2.5 buzzards out of 5.
There we go. We've got secret sauce. We've got percentages. We've got buzzards. I agree with what everyone said here tonight. I definitely enjoyed that. I will dispute Mikey on one of the things. There were 2 storylines tonight that were up front and center that can be carried on. The Athena stuff and Dalton Castle's spiral into darkness. Overall, because of that and everything else, it was, for me, enjoyable, but not enjoyable enough to be up in the top tier. I'm giving it a 6. 6 out of 10. And I'll go with secret sauce as well. So 6 liters out of 10 on that one. Gentlemen, this is a lot for all of us. We had an emotional ride tonight. We disagreed with each other. We took each other down with 2 pegs. Jesse got that smell of poop off of him from the last couple of days. Andrew got it put on him in some respect. Mikey guzzled special sauce. We had a heck of a night. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining me tonight to talk about Ring of Honor. Putting in the handshake. That is the end of the Code of Honor. Mikey again as a heel, not paying attention, putting his hand in. Oh, it slaps it away.
I'm
Hopefully
just
you-
kidding. I want to do that.
Bold move from the boss.
Bold move. But hopefully you out there in our Bi-Conics Wrestling family enjoyed it tonight. And just remember, as always, first of all, subscribe to all our socials. Find us all on there. Drop some comments down. Tell us what you want to see for merch, all that good stuff. Tell us what quote of Bray Wyatt Jesse was using in his alcove. We want you to make sure you caught that too. And remember that you're Bi-Conic. We're all Bi-Conic, and we love sharing wrestling and wrestling as an art form with you. And we'll see you in the next video.